Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford is set for July 29th, and quite a few pros believe that Crawford doesn't have what it takes to take on Errol. According to Crawford, Adrian Broner told him his prediction to his face. Crawford stated, "Broner kept it G and I've got to respect him. He said, I'm cool with you, but I'm cooler with Spence and I think he's gonna beat you. He told me that to my face." On top of that, Broner's been heard talking about how he thinks the fight will be more like a chess match or war than anything.
Spence and Bud Crawford have agreed to fight. How do you see that fight playing out in the ring?
It's gonna be a crazy chess match, but a war. They're gonna fight. They're gonna fight to death. They're gonna fight the shit out of each other, and it's crazy because I got personal relationships with both of them. But of course, I'm closer to Errol. You know, even though me and Terence, we close as shit too. And his whole team, my whole team love their whole team. Like, it's a fight that boxing need. It's a fight that both of them need. And I really see a trilogy in this whole thing with them.
Wow.
I honestly can see a trilogy, and both of them guys retiring.
Keith Thurman believes that this kind of fight is just what the boxing world needs right now. Thurman stated, "These are two undefeated champions. If I was an undefeated champion, we would have been unified titles together. Two champions of this caliber undefeated going to unify the entire division, doing something unprecedented, something that Floyd Mayweather never accomplished in his career. This is what our generation needs. They need that to gain the status. They're both future Hall of Famers. But somebody's just gonna have a few more words to say on their plaque at the end of the day. That's what fighting's all about." Gervonta Davis had a very interesting way of explaining how he thinks Errol will end up winning.
Errol Spence or Bud Crawford?
All right, but now you see how you said that, right? Okay, imagine we in a, let's just say we in a gunfight, right?
Yeah.
And I got a metal shield, and the opposite person got a glass shield.
Okay, Chad.
Who gonna come out on top?
The guy with the metal shield.
Okay.
Tim Bradley had a lot of good things to say about Spence, but in the end, he thinks that Crawford has what it takes to take on someone like Errol. Tim stated, "The problem that I see with Spence every now and then is that when he can't get to you, he pushes the temp a little bit more and he starts making mistakes and lunging forward with his attacks. You can't do that with Crawford. I think his job is to frustrate the crap out of Spence. He's gonna get him acting overly aggressive and he's gonna run him into something. That is why I saw Crawford by stoppage. Some people say like a car accident hasn't even stopped this man. Spence is different. He's built different. I get it. I understand. But you don't understand that Crawford is a different animal and the best fighter of this generation. He can make adjustments. He has more tools in his toolbox to be able to make adjustments against what Spence does." Calvin Ford also thinks that this fight is going to be epic, but he thinks predicting the winner will come down to one big question.
Spence, Crawford, who wins?
That's one I'm going to leave away. I told you that's a coach's dream right there. Get what I'm saying? Because like I said again, Spence is the bigger guy. He's been in that weight class for a long period of time. The question I ask people, throughout both of their career, which one been hurt in their career since they've been fighting? And then we'll know who the winner.
Okay,
that's the answer.
Kell Brook thinks that this will be a close one, but he believes that Crawford will come out on top. Barely. Brook stated, "It's a fight where I've been in with both of them and it's a funny one because I could get this wrong. The reason being that styles make fights. A positive for Spence is that he's a natural southpaw and I think that may cause Crawford some problems. But I'm going for Crawford to win that fight. He's a switch hitter. He's like a surgeon in there. Very precise, great finisher, and he's a great fighter. They're both great fighters, but I'd have to lean towards Crawford. He's been more active than Spence, who's been in a big car crash. He's not really been active like Crawford. There's only small percentages in it, but I do lean toward Crawford in that fight." Rolly Romero didn't seem to have anything nice to say about Errol during his prediction, though.
Crawford's a cheap fuck, probably the cheapest boxing history. Like, this is cheap. Man, I feel bad for Crawford, man. I really do feel bad for Crawford. He's cheap. He's ugly as He can't sell a fight to save his life. And his best win is literally a 135-pound Gamboa who was overweight and can't, and honestly shouldn't even been at that weight class because he's a 26-pounder.
Manny Pacquiao seems to think that the winner will be decided according to style matchups. Manny stated, "The style advantage. Crawford has that advantage against Spence. It depends how they prepare for the fight. I don't think it ends in a knockout. It's going to be a 12-round decision." Tom Brown didn't know who would come out on top, but he knows that whoever does end up winning will be one of the biggest champions ever in the sport. Tom stated, "Like I said yesterday at the LA press conference, this fight really is as big as it gets. We have the two best fighters in the world, both undefeated world champions, in a generational fight. We haven't seen fighters with skills like this at 147 pounds since Leonard Hearns in September 1981. Now Terence Crawford became the undisputed champion at 140 pounds back in 2017. And now he's got the chance at history by becoming the first 2-weight division undisputed world champion. But one thing's for sure, the winner of this fight will be the undisputed pound-for-pound king of boxing." Sean Porter has fought both, and he believes that pacing will be a big decider on who wins.
Yeah.
My fight with Errol started fast and finished fast. We might get that. You know what I mean? My fight with Terence started slow and finished kind of fast. I mean, like, don't say nothing.
Roy Jones Jr. believes that the winner will be decided according to how well Crawford can take a punch. Roy stated, "Terence has got to get an early lead and hold on to it. Both guys have their strengths and weaknesses in the fight. It's a beautiful fight, and I can't wait to see it. All that helps, and he has size too. It all depends on how well Terence can take his punch. If Terence can take his punch with no problem, then Terence can make a proper assessment. If the punches become a problem, then that makes it a little easier for Spence. We'll have to see what happens. That was a great fight for boxing. It could have been a draw, or it could have gone either way. I thought that he didn't take the belt from the champ because the champ won the last round." Chris Algieri believes that this is a great match, and he thinks that Spence could beat Crawford up. Chris stated, "Could Crawford be too skillful, too special? Yes. Can Spence be too big and too good? Yes. I can see so many different ways. It's one of those fights where it's a true 50-50 fight, which is so hard to say in any kind of era in terms of boxing matchups. I could see Crawford stopping Spence. I could also see Spence beating up and stopping Crawford. That's how crazy the fight is. It's that kind of matchup." Danny Garcia sees the fight going either way, but he also believes that it comes down to rhythm.
Spence is strong. He's a strong puncher, but Crawford throws the shorter punches. So it's going to be interesting because, you know, Spence is busy, and then Crawford's probably going to be picking his spots and trying to get in his rhythm. I can see it. It depends who gets off on the better, you know, ahead. If Crawford gets ahead, starts controlling the fight with his jab and backing Crawford up, then I can see Spence winning. But if Spence goes in there, if Crawford goes in there and finds a rhythm, then it might be a W for Crawford.
Evander Holyfield wants to leave it up to the fighters in the ring, but he's looking forward to seeing a battle. He stated, "It's going to be a great fight. Both of the guys are very skillful, very talented. My opinion of what I think they are don't make the fight. It's how the guys fight that night. Both of us know that both of the fighters are great fighters. It's just who can make the necessary move and get the guy before he gets got. That's the art of boxing. It's about how you'll proceed to take it from him, but find a way to take it from him. If you're just as strong as me and just as fast as me, I know I can't just run up there any kind of way because nobody can run up against me any kind of way. They're going to get it." Vasily Lomachenko believes that Crawford will win, but it's a close fight in his opinion. Loma stated, "We were talking about this a couple of days ago. For me, I think it'll be Crawford. It's 55-45 for Crawford because I think that he's a little bit smarter. He can adjust during the fight very quick. It'll be very, very interesting. It's a big fight. It's a big fight for history. It will be a great fight. Shane Mosley had put in his prediction quite a while ago, but he's since changed his mind. Shane stated, "It's hard for me to say, but I think that before I was thinking that Spence had more of the edge because I thought that maybe he was a better boxer. He can move around and outpoint Crawford. Now I see that Spence has been through a car accident and stuff like that. I know about injuries and how they can affect you because I've been injured with a hernia, groin, Achilles. All this stuff plays a big part. I think that Crawford is probably 100%, and he's a game fighter. He's willing to win, so I'm leaning more towards Crawford because of that. I'm not saying that Errol Spence won't be able to beat him. It could be a 50-50 fight. I just think that with all of the things that happened to Spence, that takes a big toll, and that might be a hard hill to climb up in that fight. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on screen right now.